Thank you. Right, sorry about that. I'm going to have a couple of videos put together there, I think, because I had a little bit of an accident with a whisk. I should have thought about that. There we go. Never mind. Let's have another go. I'm going to get resin. I'm just going to change this glove because I've got resin all over it now. And I don't want to get resin all over my whisk. So we'll get rid of that glove. We'll put another one on. Gloves are very flimsy. Doing this one. Oh, that was good. That was just a no good. Try again. There we go. Usually fit really nice these, but once you've had a pair on, to get another pair on the top's a nightmare. Right, let's try this again. We'll put it in first, then we'll that's it. So what I've done this time is tried it from the start, although I've got a little bit of glitter in this one because there was some glitter on the board when I tried to rescue my resin. It is actually a lot clearer this time. Although I'm covered in resin, splashed myself everywhere. Got to remember to keep a hold of the pot. Don't do what I do and leave go because it will go off. So I've got it on top speed. It's not like mega fast, but it's quite a thick resin, isn't it? So I did a 40-40 mix, as you could possibly see by the end of the last video, or the first section of this video. It's actually been cut in. I paused it. Couldn't find the pause button. So we had to stop the video and restart it again. I'm sorry about this. I'm all new, so we're learning. Still a learning curve for us. Next time what I'll do is I'll just keep recording. We can always speed it up. I've just had that idea put to me by my daughter. Oh, it has come a lot clearer, to be honest with you. There's still a lot of bubbles in it though. Don't know whether it maybe needs a bigger motor, goes a bit faster or what, I don't know, but we'll see how it turns out. Might be a complete failure and we'll have to go back to just hand stirring, which is no good for my hands, but we'll see. I enjoy resin so much that I'll put up with the finger cramps. We've got to do this for about 3 minutes, which is nearly there. You wouldn't think we had this. Oh, there we go. And you lift it up, it goes quite fast. I think it's because it's quite a thick solution. It's really slowing the whisk down. The motor's not quite strong enough to give it a good boost. There we go. And I'm going to give that a clean straight away because I don't want the resin to get too stuck to it. All I use is like an alcohol wipe, the same as Annie does. because I find that actually gets rid of the resin quite quickly. Just get the handle right down as well. There we go. Right. So then, let's have a look. Where's my rubbish bin? There it is. Right. I'll stick one in the bin as well. Right, this time we're going to do another leaf, but I'm going to try it in the green colours. And I'm going to use my pigment powders. So I'll get another brush out because I totally ruined that last brush. There's this one. Oh, that's a bit big. I use basic cheap makeup brushes for the pigment powders and such. So I was going to use a selection of greens. So I've got a selection of these green pigment powders out here. And I thought, because no leaf is just one colour, is it? So I'm going to use a selection of them. So let's just open them all up, take the covers off them. Where's my little pointy tool? Just get a wet wipe again. It's fiddly when you've got gloves on, it's a nightmare. Right, so let's use some of this pigment powder. So again, I'm just going to try painting the pigment powder onto the leaf in places where I want it. And see how this works out rather than actually mix it in with. I don't really know how you work with pigment powder, so this is all experimental. As I say, I'm just going to paint it on there and then we'll see what happens from there. So that's that one done. So it's all about shading, I suppose. Those people who are into the colouring could probably do a lot nicer with this, because there's different shadings, things like that, that you can take into consideration about where to put the powders. There's a little bit of resin in there, so we'll just mix it in with the powder. Quite a shiny one, that one. Nice metallic colour to that one. Oops. Oh dear. It's not a very good day today. I maybe should have done it today. I'm having lots of accidents. Excuse me. There we go. Get that back on there before I spill any more. So we've used that one and that one. Let's try this one. This is much vivid. I'm going to stick this one more in the middle. And follow the vein, leaf vein with this. Go. So that's that one, and this one. Make sure this one just goes in the bits. Just And then with the final one, I'm just going to make sure it's all covers all the bits that haven't been covered. And then we'll put the resin on, and then hopefully in 24 hours, although this one tends to take a little bit longer to harden, and even then it's not wonderful at hardening. Okay, it's too much in there, so we'll just use that as a that's a very goldy green. So we'll put it on the tips, I think. Sides of the mould as well, so we don't just have the colour on the top, we have it all over. Right, well, let's see what happens now. So we have it is a lot clearer, this actually, and there is quite a few less bubbles in, and this has got a tiny touch of glitter in as well, because of, as I say, the glitter that was on the board. It's got some rusty coloured glitter in, so that should just give it a nice extra little bit of sparkle. Make sure the mould's quite full but not over loaded, and then we'll do the same as what we did the last time and just slide that through, trying not to make it uneven, and slide that on there. So that's 2 of those done. Okay, I'm going to do another one now. With a couple of bits of the larger flaky green in. So basically, again, I just cover the base, sprinkle it on, give it a shake around, move it around with a brush. Add a little bit of the green glitter. That's just my daughter in the background. She's busy on the computer, probably trying to edit my last few videos. Because as I say, we're both learning, and she's the more techie savvy than I am. So she's the one who's been doing a lot of behind the scenes work, which is brilliant. And then what I'm going to do is sometimes I don't mix the colours in my resin first, although I might do that with this one. Sometimes I just put the dye on top of that, but I find as if I put the dye on the mould first without mixing it with the resin, sometimes you get the dye residue once it's dry and it smudges a little bit, although in most cases it's okay, but in just the odd place if you've had a little bit too much dye. So this time I'm going to try mixing it with it in a few different colours, just on some spoons, so I don't have too much of it. I've got some little, got a variety of spoons here. More bulbous spoons. There we go. Right, so I've got 4 different spoons here. So what I'm going to do is put some different coloured dyes in. So we'll start off with your fluorescent green. And just put a couple of drops of that in there. And then I've got a green, which we'll use, which I haven't opened yet. Come on. There we go, I think that's in. Yep. I always forget to shake them first. It's a good idea to shake them, and you get the more evened out colour. And then I've got a grass green, and I think a grass green. I just want to add to that one. And then what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of the resin on each spoon. Use a small stirrer just to stir that colour in like that. And then you're not using too much resin in the same colour then. It's a nice, keep stirring it so you get a nice green. And then just drizzle that in places that I want it. It's not a very bright one, but again we'll dribble that in there. Gives it just a touch of green. And then what I'll do is I'll just use those spoons just to give that, I think I might give that a bit more of a colour. And then hopefully we'll get a mixture of different, well, what I'll do is I'll do this. This is all experiment. I just experiment. I never know what I'm going to do, and I never know how it's going to turn out. So then we'll add some of that in there. Like that. And we'll add a different colour, I think. We'll put a bit of, we'll do darker green again. Mix that in there. And then add that in there. And then add a bit of fluorescent green to that as well. So I'm going to put that in, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of dark brown at the end. And because we haven't mixed all these colours together and just put it all in, hopefully we should get a nice sort of variation in colour. was that? That was black. I meant to put a brown in, but it's black. So we'll give that a stir, and it should give us, well, obviously a dark, very dark green. There's only a touch left in there. And then, particularly near the stalk. And then I'll dribble that. Up the vein area of the leaves, and then hopefully that'll shine through, because it obviously won't be on the section when you turn it over. It won't be on the way it shows up here, but hopefully it'll show through. With it being such a dark colour, it'll show through underneath. So just make sure that's all scraped out nicely. And then we'll do the same and just scrape that. This is where I have another accident, you know, waiting to happen, isn't it? There we go. Place that there. And we're ready for another batch. So we've got 2 leaves out. So each leaf has taken about 40 ml of resin, or a 20 ml resin mix. So you've got 40 ml altogether. So you just give everything a wipe over again, and then it doesn't get too clogged up with resin. And I find the alcohol wipes are really actually very good for keeping everything tidy and clean. And then what I tend to do is just wash it with washing powder afterwards. So just wash this out. Now then, we've got one more leaf to do, which I'll show you how I did it originally, with just pouring the dyes in to the leaf first and then pouring the resin on, and show you how that worked, because I really like the effect of that. As I say, you just have to be careful about the resin, the dye drying and being mixed in at the base of the mould. Because as I say, if it dries, it can sometimes sort of not dry properly with the resin, and the dye stays wet, and then it smudges. It's hard to explain what happens. I'm just going to wash these brushes as well while I'm on, because I don't want them drying hard. Stirrers over there, give my hands a wipe. Right, so then we need to mix the resin first. So let's see if I've got enough resin in here. I don't think I have, but we'll give it a go. I might have 20 ml left in there. Have we? I'll tip that up ready. I think we do. So that's that emptied, and then we've got the last bit of hardener as well, so that should take us up to the 40 ml. Because it's 1 to 1, so there should be equal proportions in these 2 boxes. Although there isn't for some reason. Stop coming. Right, what I'll do is I'll just leave that like that. Pour into there, so hopefully we'll get all of the resin out. And I'll use some of the crafty resin, which is new resin which I've been dying to try all day. So just gonna mix. I'll mix about I'll do a 20-20 mix again with this. That's my little pot. Right. Okay. Nina, can you open this for me? I've got my hands are in these. Oh no, it's all right. I've got it. I've managed. So we'll put that in to that one with A, and then this is the B. Right. So then we want 20-20. So we're going to want 20 of that. Whoa. Let's go for 30, seeing as it's nearly 30. There we go. So that's the resin. That's A. And then we have B. Wrapping this handle so it doesn't get right. Oh, this is a real thick resin. Again, we're supposed to leave this, mix this for 3 minutes. So I've got some more moulds coming, hopefully. I did order a big pack of different moulds and it should have mermaid tails. I'm hoping the mermaid tails come along for the Anything Mermaid with Cal from Cal's Crafts. So I'd like to do a couple of different crafts with that. I've so far got a scratch card and a diamond painting to do, so that's 2 crafts. And I was going to do some quilling as well, because that's another craft everybody's been asking me about. So I was going to do some of that. And then hopefully do some mermaid resin pieces. But it's getting thicker. I think it possibly needs a hand whisk with a stronger mortar, or not as much resin in the tub. There we go. Now I'm going to find the button. Okay. And excuse my hand across the screen, just getting some wet wipes out again. Right. Good clean. Okay. Right, let's clean this mould out a little bit. Right, so I'm going to do the rusty colours again, because that's what I've been asked to do. So it's the oranges, the browns, we've got black, we've got brown, coffee, and we go for the orange, dark purplish red, peacock blue's got a slight green tinge to it, peppermint gnaw. I think that's it. So we go for those particular colours. Basically all I do is put the dye straight onto the mould where I want it. So this is the brown, so the dark colour go up, and but it's these big globs you have to be careful of, so don't have like and again this is where the brushes, I'll use this brush, where the brushes come in handy, because it just helps you coat the inside of it a little bit, and so the dye doesn't pool, and then it dries easier on the actual resin. So that was brown. Let's do the coffee next. Ooh. I don't think I've used the blue on it before, but we'll see what that does. So nice, especially when it's mixed in with the brown. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. As you see, I'm just putting the dye directly onto the mould at the bottom, and then just dabbing it a little bit so that it's not pooling, and then it dries better. And finally put lemon red. So I'm going to add a little bit more orange because I've mixed it in too much with the brown then. And then use the resin to mix it a bit more. So when you pour the resin, pour it in the direction you want the colours to go. So for example, if you want them to run up over or across there, and then it pushes the colour where you want it to go. And then just gently fill the mould to the top, or just about to the top. And then what you can do is you can actually mix it up a little bit. So the dye is actually mixed in with the resin and not just stuck on the top bottom of the not just stuck on the bottom of the mould. And you can also, helps you if you use one of these or a brush, it can help you move the colours in different areas of the leaf as well, or put it in a certain direction. And then it's just a case of making sure that the mould is full. Now normally, I mean, to get the bubbles out, you would use a heat, but I don't have one at the minute. So I'll just, because the micro bubbles, any of the big bubbles, I'll try and pop with this little tool here. But I haven't got heat at the minute, so I just have to put up with it. And to be quite honest, I'm not disappointed with the results so far. So I haven't been overly worried about bubbles. And I think sometimes the small bubbles can actually enhance the look of them. Oh, it's getting a bit sticky then. Right. So that's the leaf section done. Right, what we'll do now is we'll just use up some of the resin, the 2 bits of resin that I've got left. So I'm going to use some bits of I think I'll mix some with the pigment powders this time. And let's have a look. Oh, tell you what we'll try is we'll try these magical ones. So we've got a magical blue here, and see what happens with these magical ones, because the powder itself looks white. So we'll see whether it turns the resin. So just put some of the pigment powder in the resin. No idea how much to use. We'll get one of my little stirrers here. Oh yes, and it's turning it a beautiful blue. Don't know whether you can see that colour very well, but it's turning it like a metallic, pearlized blue. There. So then let's see, what should we do? Some bits here for jewellery. So I think we'll do a couple of these. I've got oh, that's really pretty. It's like a very marbleized, pearlized blue. So I just basically add, and that bottle's in the way, isn't it? Sorry. Just basically adding that to the mould, just overfill that a little bit. So I'm just going to scrape it into that one. It should be a lovely colour when it comes out, let's hope. It's always the apprehension with resin, you don't know what it's going to come out like in the end. You can play about and think, oh, that looks pretty, and then when it actually comes out of the dye, it's like, out of the mould, it's like, oh, that's not very good. I mean, so far I've been lucky. I've had some nice pieces. I'll show you some of them when I finish this. Pointer there. Make it go all the way around, because this one's got, it's a jewellery mould, so it's got the little bits where you can add the holes in, so you can add the hooks to it. Just take some of that out there and put it into there. You just got to be so careful you don't overfill them. It's very easy to do, especially when you're dealing with these small small pieces, because they're very fiddly. Let's see how much we've got. I might get one of those done. Yep. And if you overfill, just move it around with either a stirrer, or I like to use this pointy thing. I really find that useful. And then top up. Roll in there. And then finally that little square at the bottom. Okay, and then I'll move that onto my tray. So we've got somewhere to keep it nice and level. And hopefully within 24 hours I can show you what these look like. Right, so we've got another set here. So what I think we'll do is, I think we had another magical one, didn't we? So I might just do a, I think I'll reorganise these into colours. There we go, magical purple. So we have this one now, and we do have the right amount in there, so that's them, and they can then go in the bin. And get our little whisk out again. And we another 3 minutes. This is the slow thing of resin work. I find the boring bit is the actual mixing up with the resins. We do have a little bit of that other resin left over, that pearlized blue, so what do with some of these little join pieces, I'll just mix them with that. Or I've got some other little moulds there, little jewellery moulds, I'll just use it up with. I'm just thinking how long we've been on. It's 47 minutes. This is the last leg of the journey. I'm mixing this last piece of resin up, and then we'll stop. The thing as well with resin, you're better off mixing, well I've found you're better off mixing small amounts for each section rather than doing a big jug of resin. Do smaller quantities, because it gives you more variety of what you can do. You can colour it different and that kind of thing, or you don't have to worry about how quick you're using it. You can take your time with each mould or each selection of moulds you're doing, rather than have to worry about, I need to get this in a mould within the next few minutes, really, because once it starts to harden and cure, the longer you leave it, obviously. So the longer it takes you to put them in the mould, that the more difficult the resin is to work with. So I've found personally I like to use the smaller colours, and then it makes me, encourages my creative juices, as it were, coming out. I think, oh, I like that, and then I might do something different in those colours, or try mixing the resin in this way, or do something a bit different, you know. So that's that mixed. Again, let's wash that whisk off straight away. Oops. See, that's very bubbly, that one. Right. And we're going to mix in some of this one. More in than the last time, and then we'll give it another whisk. And it's coming up lovely. I don't know whether you can see that, a lovely purple. Again, a pearlized, very pearlized. Oh, needs charging now. It's having trouble spinning. There we go. But that's not right. Clean the whisk off again. Okay. let's have a look, see what's happened. This one. So this has got the purpley look to it rather than that blue within the marble effect. So let's do these ones. We'll start with the little ones. There's a hair on there. The hair's in. I think I prefer the blue to the purple, to be honest with you. It still looks nice though. Yep, that's a bit too quick. And finally we have a leaf here to do, so we'll do the leaf. I'm going to make sure it goes into all the little nooks and crannies. And that's where this pointy tool I find comes in really handy, because you can make sure it goes into all the corners nicely. There we go. There's another one done. Oh dear, we've got a bit of a spillage. Oh no. Hasn't been quite straight and I've had a bit of a spillage there. So I'm going to have to. Was doing so well as well. I think the molds themselves are okay. They might just need topping up with a little bit of resin. But it's left my tray a mess. I'll tidy that up later, I think. I don't know what it is about these leaves, but every time I seem to do these leaves, they leak. of a mess. Ah, now they've dribbled everywhere. Typical, typical. Today has not gone as according to plan. But thankfully we've still got a little bit of resin left, so I can top those up, and that shouldn't be an issue. Hey, this is the joys of crafting. I'm not going to edit this out because, as I say, it's all part and parcel of crafting. These little accidents that happen. Right, I'm going to move this tray and put it in the kitchen now, where it's going to be nice and flat, so hopefully we won't have any more catastrophes. I've got another tray here ready for the next one. Right. Oh, excuse that telephone. These little slides, I think. Oh. Well, that had a bit of blue. Sorry, that's just my other daughter ringing to see whether we need anything from the shop. It's actually brought a nice colour, that. This is something else it can do. It's just, this is what sometimes else happens. I make mistakes like this where I've put a dye in by accident, and sometimes it works out quite nice. You get a nice surprise. So this is actually meant for a, I'm going to add some of the purple in there as well. So this is actually meant for a hair clip. Then we'll see what happens with that. And basically I'm just going to use up this. These are all meant for hair clips, and it came with little slides and grips that you can actually glue on. I think they'd also make nice magnets as well, to be honest. Well, that's it. That's all I'm doing. Don't think I've got resin for anything else, so I'm just gonna fill this last little one up and then leave it at that. And then tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, maybe the day after, we'll be able to show you the results of what we've done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I say, I'm Lisa, Lisa's Crafty Creations. Most people call me Lise, hence the name. If you like this video, would like to see more, something similar or something different, let me know. And I'm sure we can try and accommodate you. And if you please give me a thumbs up if you like the video. constructive criticism in the comments is always welcome, and if you've got any other comments to make or any questions to ask, please let me know. And subscribe, you're more than welcome to join our little team here. I'd love to have you, love to see you on a regular basis. So as I say, I'll love you and leave you. Pass on a smile if you get the opportunity to, and I will see you next time. Thank you.